You good? All right, Cody, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Jab Journals. I'm your host, Dan. I'm sitting here in Empire Boxing Club with reigning super heavyweight Metro Detroit Golden Gloves champ, Cody Brooks. Cody's preparing for his pro debut February 21st, Motor City Casino. Cody, what's it feel like, winning the Metro Detroit Golden Gloves and, about to turn pro here? How you feeling?
It feels wonderful. We don't do a lot of amateur fights, but we felt the need to get some exposure, so we went to the Golden Gloves, came to win. We came to nationals, and we were fighting people way bigger than us, but we were ready for the challenge.
Yeah. Take a step back real quick to the Metro Golden Gloves. You don't normally fight super heavyweight, normally just the heavyweight limit, which is under 201. So you were smaller than a lot of the guys that you were fighting. So what was the mindset behind that? And, just take me from there.
Right. We knew we were coming in small. I only weighed, I believe, about 207 pounds for that tournament. Everybody outweighed me by about 20 to 50 pounds in that division. So our plan was just to show grit and toughness, come forward and outwork the guys, run them over.
And was there a reason for going to super heavyweight instead of the heavyweight division?
I had a gym mate who was around the same weight as me, and they were competing in that weight class, and we just wanted to stay in our own weight classes.
Right.
We didn't want to compete against each other.
Okay, very cool.
So I thought I'd bite the bullet, go up a little higher. I'd welcome the challenge.
Yeah. So you moved up in weight, obviously won both of your fights, great fights, action-packed fights. Then you go on the Nationals, which was in Detroit, in your hometown.
Right.
Made it to the quarterfinals, lost to the eventual champion. His name was?
Gilbert Kabamba.
Gilbert
Kabamba.
And, I think you really just surprised a lot of people with how far you went. And like I said, you weren't very well known in Metro Detroit because you didn't fight a lot. So explain what was that? You knew what you had, but showing everybody what you could do, how did that feel?
It felt great. And like you said, I did know what I had, but I didn't, you don't really know until you actually get in the ring with some real competition. And I felt real good going in there, and I felt like I performed fairly well.
Yeah.
The only roadblock was Gilbert Kabamba, and I believe he was ranked number 3 in the nation at the time. So I'd say what we're doing is working.
Right. Now, even before Metro Detroit Golden Gloves, you said you've been boxing, you were 14, but kind of on and off. Take me how you got into boxing and up until the Metro Detroit Golden Gloves last year, what was going on?
Right. So when I was a kid, I just watched a lot of TV. I wanted to be like a Power Ranger. I wanted to be fighting bad guys. So I decided I was going to go learn how to, originally it was going to be MMA. I was at MASH gym. I forget where it is, but I was at MASH MMA gym. And the boxing coach there was David Lester and my current coach, Johnny Glover. And they pretty much poached me. I got pulled from there because the boxing, I was having much more fun with it, and they saw I had a knack for it. So I started training with them at their gym, World's Best.
Yeah. Now, did you have a lot of amateur fights when you were younger?
I did not. Believe it or not, I've been this size since I was 15 years old, and it's real hard for a 15-year-old this size to find a matchup. Yeah. So I haven't grown an inch since I was 15 years old.
Oh, really?
Not an inch.
I feel that when I started fighting, I was 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. I had been that way since I was 12, 13 years old. So I automatically had to jump in there sparring grown ass men. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you know exactly what that's
I know exactly. I was crying every day, getting beat up.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't get any matches because everybody my age was much smaller. So
the big thing that helped me out was defense. We talked about my coach Sugarman back in the day. He said, man, you can't be sitting around getting hit by these grown men. You got to learn how to move. So that helped me out a lot too. But you took a different approach. When you were fighting the Golden Gloves, you were coming forward, throwing a lot of punches. We kind of talked off camera about how that was your game set to kind of tire the bigger guys out, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that was something you and your coach had talked about going into the tournament?
Yes. We were working on just conditioning and running them over because we knew in the amateurs, especially with the big guys, they usually only got maybe a round and a half in them. So once that's over, it's my show.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at the pace you set, man. So, like you said, you started at 14, fought a little bit, trained a lot, but then you went into the military. Take me through the idea behind that and what prompted that decision.
So I was kind of around the time I was 17 years old. I was kind of in a rough place. My coach David Lester died literally on the day I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
While I was walking the stage, he was in the middle of having a heart attack. Then that really shook me. I didn't want to train after that. And other than that, I was also working a dead end job. I was at Babies R Us. I hated that.
Yeah.
So I just decided I needed to go somewhere. So I enlisted in the United States Navy, and I was gone for about 7 years.
Okay. Thank you for serving. We definitely appreciate that. What was it like in the Navy? They have like Annapolis. They have boxing. Did you ever try to do any of that while you were in the Navy? Or
I tried to, but it was real hard to get into. It was real hard to get to.
It's like the top of the class, right? Like you get like to go to Annapolis, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, and depending on your job, it's real hard to be taken away from your job to go box. So I wasn't able to do that.
Gotcha.
But I tried to fit in boxing whenever I could. I did a lot of boxing when I was over stationed in South Korea.
Okay. Yeah, boxing is kind of big over there. So yeah. So then you obviously you served your time in the Navy. Came back to be a civilian. How'd you get back in touch with Johnny Glover?
Oh, and I never lost touch.
Okay.
Johnny's basically my uncle at this point. I've known him since I was 14 years old. He was my co-trainer when I was under David Lester. And when David died, I went to him. He's my main coach. And we kept in touch the whole time. Every time I dropped a Korean over in Korea, I'd send him a video, send him a clip. Yeah. And then he would complain about it. He'd just find something to nitpick.
Yeah, he can always find something wrong there. That's a good coach, though. That's a sign of a good coach. So, here we are. You're done with the Golden Gloves, decided to turn pro. What have you been working on, like, from the end of the Golden Gloves till now?
I've been working on my wind. I've been trying to keep my cardio up so I could go the longer rounds. We're fighting 4 rounds right now, so we should be able to train. We should be training for 8. That's our mindset. And other than that, it's just movement, high mobility, high technique, high mobility. That's what we're trying to do.
Right. So you're trying, like, you're fighting at your weight class now, though. You're going to be fighting at cruiserweight. Fighting at the Motor City Casino, a lot of big fights have happened there. A lot of big local guys have gotten their career started off there. How does it feel to fight at Motor City Casino?
Oh, it feels wonderful. I go to there all the time whenever I have a free day and there's a fight going on. I love fighting there. I love seeing fights there, and I love the idea of fighting in front of my hometown. Right.
Now, coming up in Metro Detroit, a lot of big stars came from here. Tommy Hearns, Tony Harrison. The whole lineage of fighters. Manuel Stewart, a big trainer, obviously. Is there anyone that you look up to in boxing that are kind of trying to emulate a little bit when you're in the ring?
I don't really try to emulate anybody. I do look up to a number of Detroit fighters. Tommy Hearns being one of them. Joe Louis, James Toney. I'm a big fan of those guys. I don't really try to emulate anybody, but I try to take the what do they call it? That Bruce Lee approach. Take what you can, discard anything that's not useful, and then just make it your own.
Right. Is there like a fighter today that you like to watch? Like, who's your favorite fighter today?
Right now, my favorite fighter today is Naoya Inoue out of Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a killer.
Yeah. He knocks down anybody he touches. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good one. It's hard to like watch him fight though. Sometimes he's always on the zone, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. It's just he fights so sporadically, but no, good fighter to look up to, obviously. Do you kind of take? Is there anything you take from him specifically?
One thing I'm working on right now is that uppercut body shot he does. I love that. It's clean.
Yeah, and now because you fight you said that your style is gonna be different in the pros, but you kind of stay low. That kind of worked for you against the taller guys for sure.
Make no mistake, I will still be coming forward a lot. I will still be coming forward a lot.
Now, the guy that you're fighting, he's already got 10 professional fights, a lot of MMA fights. He's got a lot of combat experience. It's not like you're just going in there against a tomato can, really.
Right.
So, how do you feel about doing that in your pro debut, going up with someone with that much experience?
Well, I feel like it's necessary. I feel like it's necessary because I want to hit the ground running. Because I was gone in the military, we're starting a little bit late, so I want to catch up to the pack.
Yeah. Do you feel that adds pressure to your career because you are starting off so late?
I feel like it adds a little pressure to me. It adds a little because I'm seeing a lot of younger guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. I'm seeing them already with huge belts, world titles, and I'm just sitting here chilling, sparring. Yeah. And I know I shouldn't be comparing myself to them, but it's hard not to. Right.
Well, I mean, if you got to have something to look forward to, and obviously those guys have had great careers, and you could definitely follow in their footsteps. So, what do you expect to feel, that night, your pro debut? A lot of fans there, a lot of friends. How do you expect to control all that and go in there and fight?
I feel pretty confident right now, but I know for a fact on the day I am going to be shaking in my boots. I'm going to be so nervous. But what we're going to do is we're going to come out the first round. We're just going to play around and we're going to loosen up, and then you'll see the real Cody Brooks in rounds 2 and 3. and we're gonna try to get him out of there round 3.
Yeah. Do you feel like, in your pro debut, like I was always curious, did you feel like pressure to knock the guy out? Do you feel like if you go to a decision, it's kind of like a bad showing by you?
I don't think so. Especially in the early fights, these are build-up fights. So like, if you go out there and knock him out in the first 30 seconds, you didn't really learn anything.
Right.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to go out there. We're trying to showcase dominance for a few rounds, and if we get the knockout at the end, that's the cherry on top.
Right. So you already. You already told me that you have fight scheduled. Obviously, you're not looking past this first fight, but you're really starting to gear up for your pro career. Starting, like you said, you had a couple bumps in the road at the end of the year last year, and now so it's like 2025. Is this going to be like your year where you just fight every chance you get?
This is the year we hit the gas. Yeah, we already have this fight lined up on the 21st and a fight lined up for March 8th as well.
Right, and that's in Lansing, right?
Yes.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Just what are your dreams, like your goals with your pro career? Where do you want to take this? So
obviously I want to go as high as I can, but my main goal as far as boxing goes is when I'm long gone, I want people to be thinking about me when it comes to those what if matchups.
Okay.
When you're thinking like, oh, who would win, Muhammad Ali or Joe Louis?
Right.
Who would win, Evander Holyfield or
Cody Brooks?
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I just want to be a random guy in some random town thinking like, what if Cody fought that guy?
Yeah,
that'd be wonderful.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, that's a cool thing to look at. Everyone, whenever you go to a fight show and there's a law, like someone's like, what if this guy fought? So yeah. I totally get that. You just want to be remembered and known, right? Like just right. To kind of put your name on the game.
The year 2050, cruiserweight champion of the world. They're like, he's great, but he's no Cody Brooks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
That's what I'm looking for.
I love it, man. It sounds like you got a lot of confidence going into this, and obviously that's necessary in this sport. What is it about boxing that kind of, it seems like life trying to push you out of it a bunch of times, right? But you always came right back in. What is it about boxing that keeps you involved?
I've been trying to ask myself that for years. It's just my happy place. Mm-hmm. It's just my happy place. Whenever I have a tough day at work or just in general, I just come here, bang it out, and I'm feeling wonderful at the end of it. And whenever I can get the chance to test myself against somebody strong, like that's when I feel the most alive, when I can prove my strength against somebody else who I recognize as strong.
Yeah. Now, training aside, like Johnny Glover is a very well-known coach in Metro Detroit, been around for years. What's it been like learning from him and kind of having him guide you through your career so far? It's
been great. He's real. He runs a tight ship, as you said off camera. He runs a real tight ship. He's real nitpicky. And whether you can deal with that or not, that shows how you're going to succeed with him. Because he's real naggy. Like, you could do it 99% right, but that 1% is what you're going to be hearing about at the end of the day, which is good because now we're getting those kinks out of the armor.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of good to have a coach that doesn't always say you're doing everything right? You gotta have something.
He's not going to sugarcoat anything.
No, Johnny doesn't do that. That's for sure. So back into February 21st. What do you want to show the fans that night? What can they expect to see?
What I want to show them is just something different from a typical cruiserweight. From what I see, usually, there's outliers out there, but usually what I see at cruiserweight and at heavyweight nowadays is just people coming forward and just clubbing shots. I want to show them a more technical, more mobile cruiserweight.
Right. So you want to, kind of give the cruiserweight name just a different
look.
Yeah, different look. I feel that. All right, cool. Before we wrap things up, is there any social medias you want to shout out so the fans can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Cody_J_Brooks.
Okay, very cool. That's Cody's fight's gonna be February 21st at Motor City Casino, like I said at the beginning of the interview. Great guy, like I said, gonna be a great fight, non-stop action. Make sure you check out his socials and reach out for tickets. Cody, I appreciate the time you gave me today, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Right. We'll see you guys in the next one.